Good morning, YouTubers. Tsquare with Tsquare Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Tuesday morning. I wish I could tell you I got a great video planned out for you guys, but I kind of don't because I'm going to be doing a little bit of griping today. And not in a bad way, I guess you can say, but I kind of have to explain some things. And there's going to be some people that follow the channel regularly and are just going to understand, and then some people that maybe don't follow the channel quite as regularly are going to be upset because something that I might talk about might offend them or whatever the case may be. But every now and then it has to be said. What I want to say today in today's video has to be said because I've been spending a lot of time lately trying to catch up on comments. Some of y'all know that I had some medical issues recently, got way behind on comments. I mean, we're talking on average a couple hundred comments coming a day. I know if anybody ever clocks it or watches it, they're going to just look at the video that went up that day and count those comments. But with over 2,000 or 3,000 videos, actually this right here says 2,300 videos, there's always someone watching something. I've done a lot of videos over the last 8 or 9 years, and so there's always people commenting on videos, even old videos. Hey, this stumbled across my feed, that's kind of cool, or whatever it may be. And I try to answer every comment, but I did get behind, and I spent a lot of time today, or I should say yesterday, getting caught up on comments, answering a lot of comments. And I had some comments that might have came across, I mean, nothing offends me. I mean, I've been called everything. I've been heard everything. But I think that we have to talk a little bit about silver, gold, Bitcoin, and the channel, and the direction the channel goes. I'm not like other channels. Anybody that hasn't realized that, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. This channel is about me trying to talk about what I think is going to happen and why I think it's going to happen. My son actually got me to start this channel 9 years ago. Why? Because some of my investments had skyrocketed in value. He thought it was cool that people would want to listen and that I could kind of share some of what I do on the side. And over the years, it hasn't just been about investing. It's been about prepping. I prep. I talk about my life a lot. I share with you guys stories from friends. I never give names. Some people have been lucky enough to figure out who I am based on stories. It was kind of a fluke. I talked about my garden, talked about chickens, talked about prepping, canning, couponing, different ways to get tax breaks. And I've just talked about a lot of stuff. And I know that there are a lot of people that think that I am 100% a gold and silver channel, and that the only thing I'm ever going to talk about is gold and silver. And in recent months, I'll be honest, YouTube has been, what's the word? I don't want to use the word censoring because it sounds so weird, but YouTube shares content. I mean, some of y'all may have found me the very first time you seen one of my videos, it came up in your feed. YouTube shares what they think you'll like, and they share what they like. If YouTube doesn't like something you're talking about, you will not be able to share that video. You can put it up, but if YouTube doesn't share it, nobody sees it, and then essentially you don't get any views. Now, it's not about the money for me. This is not about the money. For what I get from YouTube, it's so low, I could go make that literally in a day if I, went and worked at, I don't want to say Taco Bell, but, if I went and took a job for a day, I could make that. So it's a very small amount. Some of y'all know, some of y'all have seen. I've even gotten laughed at for doing this as a profession. I do try to make a go of it. I'm hoping someday I'm going to be like one of the big channels. Although I have had some people tell me you're never going to be like the big channels unless you do what you're told to do. And I believe that. And I've talked about this time and time again. I recently had a comment that said, I quit being a member because I'm tired of you censoring what you say. Go back to doing what you were doing during the whole pandemic and the cough of saying whatever you want. Clearly saying whatever you want didn't work. I mean, I can say what I want. Yes, it's free speech. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we don't have free speech. YouTubers can say anything they want, but whether your video gets shared or not depends on if they decide to share it, essentially. And lately, if you guys have been following my subscribers, I've been stuck at this number for over a month now. I've heard of other channels this happening too, until they get to a point where they just stop doing videos on here. They choose another platform. They go another way. I like YouTube. I like YouTube because it's easy to use. It's user-friendly, I'll say. And I've got a lot of friends on here. The fact that someone may or may not want to stay a member, I made the comment, you know what, a membership on the low end is $1.99. I only get half that. And then of the half, I either give it up for prizes, or I give it up for shipping, or I give it up for different stuff related to the channel. And when somebody says that, if that's the reason that someone wants to not be a member, I can't stop you. I mean, I'll be honest, if I didn't really agree with what a channel was saying, I wouldn't want to be a member of the channel. I know my viewpoints are extremely different. As you can see, the last 2 weeks, I told you we will see a dip on silver before the end of this month. And I'm still saying that. And I'm going to talk here in a few minutes about why I'm still a firm believer in that. I mean, you're seeing it right now. It doesn't matter why the dip comes. Say the dip comes because there's a peace deal in the Middle East and nobody wants silver and gold because now you don't need a hedge. Say there's an agreement that inflation has gone away and it's done and over with, and now we don't need to protect our wealth because inflation's over. It doesn't matter the reason. What matters is I think we're going to see it. Now, if someone tells me, hey, I'm going out and buying silver, like I always say on this channel, this is not financial advice. I'm telling you guys what I am doing. I know my viewpoints aren't the same as everybody. I don't have anybody essentially to answer to. I don't have to promote anything on here. I'm fine doing my channel the way I want. Does that mean now I'm taking weekends off? Yes. Viewership is down in the summer. I don't see the point in doing videos over the weekend. I'm going to start taking 2 days off. It's a small 2 days. I know some people miss the videos. I know there are people that love the videos and they catch them every day. And I am super thankful for that. I'm glad that some of y'all like the videos. And if you like the videos but you disagree that we're going to see a dip, I understand that. I mean, we're all big boys and girls. And I'm a little bit bigger than most of you. No, I'm just kidding. There I go. I like to joke about everything that should be serious. But I have to say that because, like I said, when I see comments that kind of come across like, you can't be doing this. I'll be honest. Crypto, I'm not a big fan of crypto. But I do talk about it. Why? Because it's important to see what the competition is doing. What is crypto doing? I'm not going to sit here and teach everybody how to set up a wallet, how to cold storage your crypto. I'm not that big into it. I've had crypto. I don't have any right this minute. I've held my crypto on Coinbase. I've held my crypto on Robinhood. I like it. They send me my W-2. I pay my taxes on my gains, and that's it. Right now, I think cryptos are too high. I think cryptos are high. I don't think they're going to keep going up. I seen a debate back and forth today as I was reading the comments of two crypto people. One of them, though, bashing Bitcoin. The other one, pro-Bitcoin. And, he said, once Bitcoin crashes, all that money is going to flow into the altcoins. And to a certain point, I've said that. I've said that eventually Bitcoin will get too big that people will start pulling their money out. And I think they're going to put it in other cryptocurrencies. Or something bad will happen and people will lose a lot of money, and then they'll take out what they have and they'll put it into precious metals. So I have to kind of point out those things. It's not meant to be ugly. And like I said in the beginning of the video, this was not really going to be a video 100% gold and silver. In fact, a lot of people are probably going to frown on this video. They'll hit the thumbs down button. I always make a joke, hit it twice if you're going to hit it. But if you would, hit the thumbs up button. Help me out a little bit. So here's the thing. Why am I so different than other channels? I don't have any incentive. I've said that time and time again. I don't have to promote gold and silver. Do I think gold and silver is coming down? Yes, I do at the end of the month. And I think it's going to have a huge rebound, just like it did right here. Right here, where you see this huge drop from essentially 34.50 all the way down to 28.75. How do you explain that in 2 days, that big of a drop? It's manipulation. And the manipulation will eventually come to an end. But what I want you to look at is how it had that pop. Within the next couple days, it was almost right back where it was. I mean, it was a buck under where it was, but it took back most of what it lost. I expect a similar thing to happen pretty soon. I think that's why when you look at the last, let's see if you can get a good look at this, the last couple weeks, why do you think it's kind of been flat? Think about everything that's been happening. And it's flat because they can't let it go up and they can't bring it down. Now, what kind of things are happening this week? I mean, keep in mind, I've only got 13 days to be right or wrong. And in maybe 14, depending on how you look at it, if you count the first, But come the first, now it's 4th of July weekend. So I don't think the rebound is going to be huge that quick. You got 4th of July weekend. A lot of people are going to be on vacation. That would be the perfect time to beat down the price of silver. You take a handful of employees, come in at JP Morgan or some big company, and you start flooding the market with paper. Why? Because everybody's on vacation. Think about when the Fed got passed. The Fed got passed during Christmas. When everybody was on Christmas break, they had people come in, they put it to the vote, and they knew people wouldn't be there to vote. That's when stuff happens. I think that's when we're going to see a huge dip before the 4th of July. Literally. And I don't think that means, I'm negative on crypto, on Bitcoin. I'm having a hard time saying it. I don't think that means that I'm negative on silver because I'm pro-silver. Anybody that's been watching my channel for a while has to believe that, this guy believes in gold and he believes in silver. When you look at what's going on, think about it. The Fed originally was calling, people were all saying, just yesterday when I pulled it up, people were saying there was a 60% chance we would see a rate cut because of the pressure from the president, because of the economy, because of what's going on. Now, when you look at it, no, they're not. We're going to find out over the next couple days what's going to happen. The Federal Reserve is not expected to cut interest rates at this meeting. Some people are still predicting a cut. They're pricing in a cut. What do you think that does? That props up prices. That drives assets higher. And that's why over the last week, we've seen Bitcoin go up. There's a lot of people that know, though, already. The insiders know they ain't cutting interest rates. The insiders are probably already working on selling stuff off because they know the price is going to come down in everything. The stocks, everything. What will happen? Take a look at the DXY. What have we always seen when the Fed gets ready to meet up? We always see the Fed strengthen the DXY. Why do we see that happen? We see that happen because we want the dollar to look strong when they get up there and they talk about what the Fed talked about. They want to be able to say, look, the dollar has been the strongest it's been in the last 3 months. That's going to be pretty tough for them to do right now when you have a chart like this for the dollar. Now, a lot of people don't even understand. Some people think the dollar is getting stronger. It's not. It's not even getting stronger right now against other currencies this year. The dollar is losing value. It's losing value on two fronts. It's losing value on the front that the dollar is going down compared to other currencies, and then it's losing value by the fact that all fiat currencies that are made out of paper are going down, and that's why a lot of commodities are going up. You got everything going on in the Middle East. We've talked about that. And, you have oil right now, not really. Let's see here. I was trying to pull up where I had it. This is just escalating. Everything going on in the Middle East right now is escalating. This back and forth. Who do you think's left paying for that? Taxpayers. We're paying for that. They're asking for help. They need more missile defenses. Everything going on. The taxpayers are stuck paying for that. What do you think that's going to do to the debt? I told you guys on this channel, the 20th. I've said it over 100 times. The 20th is when we're going to probably hit $37 trillion. Here we are on the 17th, and we're pretty much on track for either the 19th or the 20th now. The window's getting smaller. We're only $11.5 billion away from $37 trillion. This is not good. More and more people are looking at the dollar and the eventuality, I guess you can say, that we're not going to be able to pay our debt. And what's happening with gold? It's coming down. 3,384 right now. Why is it coming down? It's coming down because if they beat gold down, they can beat silver down. They can cover their short positions. And then after the new month, it really doesn't matter what happens. Because let's be honest. With all the tensions right now, we should see gold be going up. We should see silver getting pulled along by gold. Silver, it's going flat. Now, there's a lot of people that are investing in silver, but there are lots and lots of short positions out there that are going against silver. And there's going to be even more, I believe, hitting the market within the next 14 days. Now, like I said, if someone says, hey, I'm going out and I'm buying today regardless, I don't mind that. I understand. There are people out there that have to acquire their position. And there are people out there that are going to dollar cost average. They're going to buy every Monday, every Friday, every whatever they have their schedule. I've said it time and time again. People are not going to agree with every decision or every idea that I have. At a certain point, I probably won't even be talking about gold and silver at all. Now, I know some people are like, what? Why would that be? Because at a certain point, silver is not going to be a steal. I believe even right now at 36, 36.50, whatever you want to call it, even if you want to say $38 by the time you factor in the premiums, I think that's a steal. I think we're going to see $40 silver by the end of this year. I think it's a no-brainer. But some people can't see that. They can't see, or they only see one projection. They only see the upside. No one ever sees these dips, these downside dips. And, who do you think makes out? I mean, big companies would love to be able to sell you all their precious metals at 36, 38 plus a premium. Let's just say $38, and then all of a sudden the price dips by $4 and they get to buy it back at a whole lot cheaper price. Not everybody understands. Think about this too. Here's another little fact. Who knows typically what month is the worst month for silver? Yeah, everybody's heard summer doldrums. I'm probably not saying the word right, but basically sell in May and go away. Summertime's bad. Historically, June is often considered a weaker month for silver, with some analysts indicating it's the worst month for silver. Does it look right now like it's meeting that? It doesn't. I mean, it looks like it's doing a decent job. When I look at a 1-month chart right here, I mean, look at this. To think some of this ain't going to go away is crazy to me. I would not be surprised to see this be the line, and they drove it up, or it got driven up, and now they're going to beat it back down to this line right here. What is this line? This line is right around $33. When you look at the charts and you really pay attention to it, I'll be honest, I don't have much of a life. I spend a lot of time looking at charts. I spend a lot of time reading and just doing stuff like that. I think we're going to see a drop. I still firmly believe that. And I know some people don't agree. And that's okay. It's not anything bad. When I hear people say, I'm going to unsubscribe to you because you're wrong or you're becoming another such and such channel, first of all, most of the channels, I don't know who people are referring to. I don't follow that many YouTube channels. There are a handful of channels that talk about precious metals that I follow. I may not like that they sponsor specific companies, but you know what? They have good channels. And so I do follow what they have to say. I'm curious. I know I'm one of only a few that are saying that, silver's going to have a big dip. You have to look at what's going on and look at why people are saying that. And those of you that have been here, I've been through this. I went through this again 3 months ago. I go through this almost every 3 months when I talk about the dip, if stuff is lining up. I've said time and time again, at a certain point, they're not going to be able to dip it. They're not going to be able to cover their short position. When that happens, you're going to see them fighting right up until the end of the month, and then you are going to see an explosion in price once they give up. Because once they know they can't cover, they're going to have to pay it, and something big is going to happen. If they default, people will lose all faith in the COMEX. They're going to start waking up to what's really going on. People are not awake right now. People think that, look at these price per earning ratios in stocks. For those of you that don't know, it's basically the dividends that are paid whenever they pay their dividends. And people are looking at like, oh my word, you in the old days, you should have had a 20 on average, 20 to 1. That means in 20 cycles, you basically would make your money back. Stocks didn't go up as high as they are. Everything is in a bubble right now. And the numbers that we're seeing, half of them, I don't even always know what's real and what's not because everything is so manipulated. And anybody that doubts it's manipulated only has to look at how they have changed the consumer price index, the inflation, all these charts that they're tweaking to take something out of the equation to make the charts work in their favor. For example, let's talk about unemployment. Unemployment numbers in the old days was unemployed people. Now it's unemployed people excluding the people that have not been working for more than 6 months or a year or whatever. When you do stuff like that, you're taking a whole group of people out of the equation. Those are people that might go to work if the opportunity comes up, but they're getting frustrated and maybe they're giving up or whatever the case may be. You take them out of the equation, then it doesn't make the numbers look so bad. It only really looks at the people that have lost their job or quit their job or whatever the case may be more recently. You take a look at inflation numbers. How do we track inflation? If you take food out of the equation, food is like the number one expenditure in a family. I won't say it's number one, but I would say it's up there. And then you're going to take that out of the equation? And what? You're going to have stuff like new clothes? I mean, come on. When times get tough, you think people are buying new clothes? No. If people ain't buying it, then the price doesn't quite go up as much. But a lot of people don't look at the ways they used to track this stuff. Everybody has a whole new way of looking at stuff. And everybody has the sense of just following what other people say and do. I mean, I had one friend, he told me, he goes, the problem is people can't think for themselves anymore. They want to listen to what either the news tells them, the mainstream media, or even the internet. People, it's easier to just let someone else handle it. Same with financing. I talked to one lady one day and I asked her what was in her portfolio. She didn't have the slightest clue. Can you tell me one stock at least? That way I'm curious how you're doing. If you tell me a couple of stocks, I can ballpark if you're having a good year or a bad year. She could not name one stock that her broker bought for her. I don't really deal with it. My stockbroker deals with it. Who do you think? Do you think that stockbroker's best interest is you? Yes, they have a job. Their job is to represent you. But I always wonder if someone comes in and they say, hey, if you move these stocks, we're going to give you a better commission. And this is why we think it's a good stock. but we're going to give you the commission as a bonus. You think they won't be influenced a little bit? Some of these guys, they don't make commission. If you have a bad year, it doesn't matter. They're getting paid regardless. I've always thought that was messed up. If you have a bad year, you shouldn't get paid. Just like during the bank bailouts, if a CEO of a bank basically had to go with his hand out to the government and the taxpayers to get money, he shouldn't get a bonus. He didn't do his job right. That's the problem with society. That's the problem with people. So that's one of the things I like about YouTube is you get people's honest opinions. Some people, not everybody. I like small channels. Small channels haven't been influenced by anybody. I watch some of these small channels in the Philippines, in Russia, in China, in the Middle East. These are essentially nobodies with a camera. They go out, they film, they tell you what they think is happening, what's going on, and I love them. I love those channels. I love seeing how the people feel, one, about us, and two, how they feel about what's going on. Now, some of these things I don't share. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how a lot of people feel about what's going on in the Middle East outside of essentially what I just don't really talk about that. I don't talk about it because it's not, what's the word? I'd rather reach more people by staying kind of in line and spread the message that I believe gold, silver is a store of wealth. There's a lot of things that my channel has always, though, revolved around. It's not how much money you make, it's how you spend your money that you do make. Because if you make if you make a little bit of money now and you're in debt, and then you go and you get a big, good, high-paying job at a big company, and you don't know how to manage your money, you're just going to spend more. You're just going to have more junk. You're going to do more. Maybe you'll do more fun stuff. But if you don't know how to manage your money, you're not going to know whether you make $5 an hour, $10 an hour, or $1,000 an hour. You're not going to know how to manage. How you spend your money is very important. I've also talked about basically relying on yourself. I'm just trying to think of the word. I had a little blink out there for a minute. Basically producing. Rely on yourself. Self-reliance. That's the word I'm looking for. You grow a garden. You have some chickens. I know not everybody has the time to do that. That's why I made videos a while back and I showed you how you could literally dig up an area, throw some seeds in a line, and water it. Yeah, I had grass growing at one point through my plants. But you know what? The squash grew just as well. And eventually the squash grew so big that it choked out a lot of the grass. And that was it. Same with the tomato plants. Same with the cucumber plants. I've also done the nice fancy rows, the fancy gardening videos to explain people how easy it is. Being more reliant on yourself is going to put you in a better spot. I was talking to someone today at a convenience store. We were talking about distractions and how there's so many distractions right now to distract you from the important things to make you not realize what's really going on. Like a magic trick. A magic trick, you always have the distraction. And then you see what really happened. Then you see something different and you don't really know how it happened. You have to pay attention to everything. And I kind of believe that a lot of people don't know how to do that now. And I try to talk about stuff going on and what's happening. And I understand, if silver dips, is $3 drop, is a 10% savings going to really make a difference? No, not where silver and gold is going to go. But you know what? It does make a difference when you can shave out. Wouldn't you like to be able to buy your silver right now at spot price at $36.39? I'm convinced you will be able to physically buy silver before the month comes to an end at $36. $36. That means no premiums. That means you'll be able to find companies at $36 pretty soon. And I told you, 4th of July weekend, a lot of stuff, 4th of July, they run the 4th of July sales. A lot of bullion companies, you know, when they close, they run specials. Take a look real quick. Let's see here. I don't know what the schedule is going to be for 4th of July weekend, but let's just see. This is June. So 4th of July should be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 4th of July should be on a Friday, I believe, essentially. So we're going to see probably some really good bullion deals that weekend. To me, there's no incentive for me to buy right now. 36.37 plus a premium. Taking a quick look, I'm gonna go through some of the numbers now that I've done a little bit of the griping. I've showed you guys a little bit of info. I'm going to go through all of the top row, kind of touch on some of what I've already touched on. Let me see how long this video is out right now. Oh, shoot, we're at 30 minutes. I'm probably going to fly through it. Silver right now trading at 36.39. Gold trading at 33.83. Think about how much that's down over the last week and a half. That's basically $70 down. Bitcoin trading at 107. DXY still slumping, trading at 98.15. I expect that will have to pop pretty soon. We do have the Fed meeting. How much they'll be able to pop that, it's going to be difficult, but don't be surprised to see them pop it up to 100. That would definitely give ground to see gold and silver get beat down a little bit more. We already talked about the debt clock. I'm still expecting the 20th. We'll see what happens. The back and forth tensions in the Middle East, that should be skyrocketing gold and silver and oil. Take a look at what oil's been doing. I don't even know if I mentioned it. Yeah, we saw that big pop right off, and a lot of people ran right out and hurried out and probably bought stock in oil because, oil's going to go to whatever. Here's the thing. They've got to beat oil prices down a little bit in order to, look at that. We're back under 70. What a coincidence. They've got to beat oil prices down so they can take down precious metals. Everything works together. The Fed meeting, they're probably not going to cut now. They're not going to cut. There's a lot of pressure on Trump. There's a lot of pressure with the economy, but I don't foresee them cutting. A lot of people are saying they're not expecting to cut. Calendar, I just did that just so I could see what a calendar would look like since I don't have it on my computer. And historically, June is the worst month for silver. And here we are, not really looking bad. The bad is coming. It's coming probably in the next 2 weeks. After that, I think we're going to see a big pop-up. I think just because it's summer does not mean that silver has to stay down. There's so much right now pointing that should be pushing silver higher, should be pushing gold higher, but we're not really seeing it happen yet. You have to ask yourself why. With that being said, I thank y'all for watching. I know this video is probably not going to have a lot of views. It's probably not going to have a lot of thumbs up. Some people probably didn't even make it to the end, but that's understandable. I'll have another great video for you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we're going to know a little bit more tomorrow. When the Fed starts their meeting, more people will be talking about it. Information is always getting leaked out on the web. And if you look around, you can kind of find out little hints of what's going to happen. And then ultimately the Fed will give their announcement this week, and then it's going to get really interesting. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, I apologize. Not every video is a good video, even though I might say most of the time I got a great video for you. It's not always going to be a great video. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Check out some of these other great videos, and I will definitely see you guys again on Tsquare Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.